The creation of the world.
Part 1, the silence before creation.
Before there was time, before there was day or night, there was silence. Not just the silence we know, the silence of sleep or the hush of a room, but a silence that is total, infinite, an absence that contains nothing at all. No stars burned in the sky, no seas rested upon a shore, no breath warmed the air. Only void and the stillness that belongs to unmade things. In that ancient quiet, there was an existence that cannot be measured by hours or by space. A presence beyond measurement, beyond description, the source, the mind, the will that holds what will be. This presence is not a distant force, it is the sustaining reality from which order will later emerge. The story begins here, in a silence that is waiting. From waiting comes intention. The first movement is not a physical action, but a will, a decision that will change nothing into something. This will is the first cause, the origin of purpose. It is simple and absolute, to bring forth life, to bring forth form, to turn void into a living, breathing world. This initial intent divides the endless night. It fractures nothingness, and in that fracturing the possibility of light appears. It is the quiet before the first word, and in the hush we sense the weight of what will follow. The universe, as we will come to know it, leans forward on that first whisper of will. The narrator lowers their voice now, slow and certain. What follows is not myth nor speculation, but a telling, a translation of the ancient memory into language we can hear. We step carefully into the beginning, because beginnings carry the shape of everything that will come after.
Part 2, let there be light.
Then a command rings out, not a shout that shatters the void, but a decree that unfolds like the opening of a blade. Let there be light. The phrase is an act, the voice is an origin. Light rushes into being as power meeting permission. It is more than illumination. It is separation, distinction, the naming of day and night, the start of measure. Light drives away the absolute darkness. Where there was no boundary, a boundary appears. Day follows night, and the two set a rhythm. Time, which until then was only potential, takes its first step. Counting becomes possible when light and darkness alternate. This first light is simple and raw, a purifying fire that reveals shapes yet unnamed. It is not the warm, familiar sun of later days, but the foundational glow that grants the universe its first definition. From now on, existence has a frame. Things appear, they interact, they change. Consider what this means in very human terms. Before light, there is no horizon, no perspective. With light, depth and distance show themselves. The world is no longer a single flatness, but a space of potential. This new space invites movement and story. And in the silence between each dawn and dusk, the cosmos takes a breath and listens. The narrator pauses to allow the listener to feel the scale. Imagine darkness pressing in from every direction, and then, at once, a brightness that reveals a world. That brightness is the first answer to a question no creature on Earth has yet asked.
Part 3, the sky and the waters.
After light, order continues to unfold. A great separation takes place. The waters that cover and the waters that hang above are divided. Between them, a firmament appears, vast, clear, the first sky. It becomes a ceiling of openness and space, a boundless field where clouds will later drift and winds will later stir. This separation is not mere movement of water, it is the carving of structure. Sky above, waters below, and a space in between that will hold the breath of the world. It is the beginning of weather, of seasons, of the invisible currents that make the living possible. Imagine the first sky, not blue as we know it today, but a sheen of possibility, a stage set for sun and moon, for birds and the wide sweep of air. The early winds begin to whisper through nothingness, carrying the memory of the first light. And beneath, the waters, deep and secret, wait like a sleeping thing that knows the shape of future life. The separation creates potentials. Oceans will become homes, the air will become a highway for wings, clouds will gather and pour life onto the dry places. It is an act that opens the world to movement and to change. So the sky takes its place and the waters settle below. The stage is ready now for the formation of Earth, the lands, the hills, the soil that will cradle living things.
Part 4, the birth of the earth.
Slowly, as if revealed by patient hands, the dry land appears. Waters retreat, giving shape to the first continents and islands. Rock rises, molded into mountains and plateaus. Valleys carve their courses, and riverbeds speak of journeys yet to come. The earth, once undifferentiated, receives contour and character. This emergence is not abrupt. It is a gentle yet relentless sculpting that transforms formlessness into topography. Mountains climb not by violence, but by the steady affirmation of form. Stone meets light and is warmed by it. In that warming, change becomes possible. Where soil appears, something new happens. The first green pushes through the surface. Tender shoots break open and reach toward the still fresh light. Leaves unfold like hands in prayer, and the smell of growth fills the air, an aroma of beginning. Trees rise and spread, their branches creating shadows and habitats. Flowers open into colors that the newly formed world had not yet imagined. Deep crimsons, bright golds, gentle blues. Life begins to claim the land itself. The earth sings with new textures and scents. Each element, rock, soil, water, root, plays its role. They form a balanced instrument, ready to sound the music of life. In these earliest forests and fields, the patterns of ecology start to appear: predator and prey, pollinator and plant, water and riverbank. And in the midst of this awakening, there is a sense of something being prepared for something else, for beings who can see, who can reflect, who can carry the memory of creation forward.
Part 5, the stars and the heavens. After land is formed, the attention turns outward to the dome above. There, light is gathered not in a single flash but in ordered hosts. Stars, the greater lights, each placed in a measured array. The sun, like a king, is set to govern the day. The moon, softer and reflective, to govern the night. Countless stars, like scattered jewels, are hung across the heavens. These lights are not only beautiful, they serve purpose. They mark seasons and signs. They guide the rhythms of planting and harvest, movement and rest. They become the clock and compass of future life. Imagine the first sunrise after the lights are hung. The sky itself seems to bow to the magnificence of the appointed bodies. Dawn breaks in a way the world had not yet known, and with it, the distinction between the cycles of time becomes clear. Galaxies spiral in patterns that hum of intelligence, a choreography of light and motion. There is order where there could have been only randomness. The heavens declare a type of poetry, a cosmic architecture that frames the life below. In this grand stage, humanity will learn to measure meaning by the movement of the lights. They will watch the stars and build stories. They will mark the months and celebrate the cycles of moon and sun. Thus, the heavens are not only spectacle. They are a language, a calendar, a covenant between created order and those who live within it. Part 6, life emerges in full.
With sun and rain and soil in balance, living things begin to multiply. From the sea come beings of motion and color, fish, strange and wondrous, moving in schools like phrases in an underwater conversation. From the air rise winged creatures, first hesitant, then bold. Their calls mark the mornings and the dusks. On land, animals of every kind awake, the fleet-footed, the heavy and sturdy, the small and cunning. Each creature carries within it a design, a way of being that fits the world like a hand in a glove. Predators and prey, each contributes to the web, a tension that keeps balance, a reciprocity that allows ecosystems to persist. Yet among all these, something else is being prepared, a new form of life, one that will not only inhabit the world but reflect upon it. From the dust of the ground comes a being unlike the others. Not simply shaped flesh, but formed with intention and breathed into with the breath of awareness. This being is given capacity for decision, for language, for relationship. He looks upon the earth and names its creatures. He walks through the garden and names the trees by their fruit. There is companionship at the heart of this creation. From the first man's side, a companion is formed, a partner, equal, co-worker, mirror. Together they stand in the garden, not as lords but as stewards, tasked with care and with tending the beauty that surrounds them. They experience the world as wonder, the warmth of sunlight, the cool of rivers, the richness of soil. They taste and they smell, they laugh, they name. In their unity is the reflection of the creative will, image and likeness, relationship and responsibility. This gift is also a trial, with freedom comes choice. But in the freshness of the early days, there is harmony, the world responds to them, and they respond to the world with gratitude.
Part 7, the Sabbath and the meaning of rest.
When the work is complete, a different rhythm appears, rest. Not the rest of idleness, but the rest of completion, a pause that recognizes wholeness. This is the seventh breath of creation, a settling, a savoring of what has been made. Rest here is sacred. It is a model for how life should be lived, periods of work interwoven with times of reflection and of healing. In this restful pause, the created order is not abandoned or forgotten. It is noticed and loved. Imagine the world in that moment, the sun low on the horizon, the rivers slow, animals lying in the shade, humans reflecting at dusk. A song of completion hums through the air. Everything is allowed to be as it is meant to be. This rest is also a promise. It holds the possibility that creation will be preserved, tended, and returned to. It is the pledge that the Creator's work was good and that it will be sustained. And so the seventh day is not an endpoint, but an invitation to live in balance with the rhythms of the earth and of the heart.
Part 8, the deep questions, science, story, and meaning.
A pause now for reflection. When we speak of creation, we inevitably touch on many kinds of thinking: poetic, theological, historical, scientific. These ways of knowing do not have to be enemies. They may be different lenses that, together, help us see what it is to exist. Science explores process, the how of formation, the mechanisms of stars and of life. It charts sequences and timescales, it measures and models. Story, on the other hand, asks about meaning, the why. It looks for purpose and intention behind the sequence. Both speech forms contribute to a fuller grasp of what we call reality. When ancient storytellers described the world's origin, they spoke in images and metaphors that signaled truth in human terms. They framed realities in ways that could be remembered and shared. Modern science, with its charts and equations, speaks in precise terms. Yet underneath it all lies a mutual astonishment, the fact that there is something at all. To stand under the stars and contemplate both story and data is to practice humility. We can hold scientific insight and spiritual awe together. The processes are wondrous, so is the why. As listeners and as human beings, we gather a double vision, the map of how things came to be, and the interpretation that makes those facts sing. This synergy enriches the narrative. It allows us to speak of light and of galaxies, of soil and DNA, of breath and of soul, without flattening anything into a single formula.
Part 9, the human task, stewardship and freedom.
From the earliest chapters of the story emerges a responsibility placed upon humanity. The capacity to name, to cultivate, to rule, this is allied with the call to tend, to guard, to restore. Stewardship is not domination, it is care informed by humility. To be given a world is to be given a vocation, to join in a work that is ongoing. We are not the sole actors. The land, the waters, the animals co-participate in a complex, interwoven system. But humans possess an ability to reflect, to plan, to imagine futures, and with that ability comes moral weight. Freedom is the other side of this coin. With freedom comes possibility and danger, the chance to conform or to distort, to care or to neglect. The earliest story carries a warning wrapped inside a blessing. The world is given to be stewarded, not exploited. Our response across history has been mixed. At times, we have honored the world with creativity, beauty, and compassion. At other times, with violence and waste. The original story, however, keeps calling us back to our task, to be guardians of the fragile gift. In practical terms, stewardship asks us to tend soil and water, to protect species, to care for neighbors, and for future generations. It is an ethic rooted in gratitude, because the world was given, we owe it care.
Part 10. Echoes of Creation in Human Life.
If the universe begins in a moment of divine speech, then human life is punctuated by echoes of that speech. Every creative act, the crafting of a poem, the planting of a garden, reverberates the pattern of bringing something from nothing into being. Our artistic, moral, and communal practices imitate that primordial creating. We are storytellers because the cosmos itself begins with a story. We are caretakers because the world is entrusted to care. We are observers of beauty because beauty is woven into the fabric of things. In personal terms, creation invites each of us to ask, what does my life contribute to the ongoing work of this world? Where do I add harmony, and where might I cause rupture? These questions are not abstract, they are daily and concrete, the choices we make at home, in our communities, in the marketplace, in how we use resources. By aligning action with the original rhythm, work and rest, making and tending, we participate in a stable and sustainable future. Creation is not a one-time event, it is a vocation into which we are invited.
Part 11. The world as gift and task.
Return for a moment to the image of the world as gift. Gifts create relationships. When we receive a gift, we are bound by gratitude. That gratitude translates into responsibilities. The earth is a gift with its own dignity, asking for respect. This view reframes economics, politics, and personal life. Instead of seeing resources as mere commodities to be extracted, we see them as trust to be managed. Instead of seeing other creatures as mere instruments, we see them as co-inhabitants bearing intrinsic value. The narrative of creation is a corrective, offering a lens that counters utilitarian habits. It invites us into longer perspectives, into policies shaped by care rather than quick gain. This is perhaps radical in an age of instant profit and rapid depletion, but it is also profoundly hopeful. It suggests that reverence can reshape systems.
Part 12. Conclusion. The continuing song.
As our telling draws to a close, we return to the first word, light. We have traced a movement from silence to speech, from void to abundant life. We have seen how order emerges from the call, and how responsibility flows from gift. The creation story is not merely an origin myth to be archived. It is a living narrative that addresses the human heart. It invites memory and imagination, action and pause. It calls us to marvel, to care, to participate. Look up tonight at the same sky that first received the lights. Let the stars remind you that we are part of a vast design. Walk among trees and rivers, and remember that the earth is not simply a backdrop, it is partner and home. In each birth, in each creative act, the ancient pattern repeats. The voice that said, "Let there be light," continues to be heard in our world, in the small, brave moments of human generosity, in the slow acts of conservation, in art that reaches for truth. So live as one who remembers the beginning. Work as one who knows the cost and the joy of care. Rest as one who trusts that creation is good, and that our work is to conserve and to nourish the fragile gift we have been given. And when you listen closely, you can hear the echo of that first command in every sunrise, in every opening bud, and in the deep, patient pulse of life itself. Let there be light.